Hi, in this video we're going to look at what's called the product rule. As we said before, we can take a derivative if we have a term to an exponent, we have a rule for it. But what if you have two terms being multiplied with each other, such as u times v? Well, the rule says if y is equal to u times v, the derivative y prime is going to be u prime v plus uv prime. There are a few different ways that you sometimes see the rule, such as with f's and g's, but this is the rule that I usually use throughout the course. So let's look at the first example. If f of x is equal to x squared plus 3x times 4x plus 5, how do you know you have to use the product rule? Well, notice you have a parentheses times a parentheses. The first set of parentheses is your u. The second set is your v. I recommend that every time you answer this question, you label u prime, v prime underneath. So u is x squared plus 3x. V is 4x plus 5. U prime is 2x plus 3. And v prime is 4. Now to take the derivative, you use the rule up here. So f prime of x, notice how I changed notation from f to f prime, is equal to u prime, put everything in parentheses, u prime v plus u v prime. Notice it's u prime v plus uv prime. So a little cross there. This is your answer, but we should clean it up and simplify it. So FOIL out the first two terms. We get 8x squared plus 10x plus 7x plus 15. And the 4 distributes to the two terms, 4x squared plus 12x. And then you look for common terms to combine. We have an x squared and a 4x squared, so that means f prime of x is 4 plus 8, 12x squared. You have a 10x, a 7x, and a 12x. So it's 17 plus 12. 17 plus 12 is 29x plus 15. And that's your answer. Again, know your rule, recognize that it's a product, and identify u prime, v prime. Substitute them in and simplify your answer. Let's try another example. Y is equal to x to the 2/3 plus 3 times x to the negative 1/3 plus 5. U times v. So we know it's product rule, so we know we're going to use the rule u prime v plus uv prime. So let's identify our u, our v, our u prime, our v prime. So u is x to the 2/3 plus 3, v, x to the negative 1/3 plus 5. U prime, 2/3 x, when you take away 1 from 2/3, you're left with negative 1/3. When you take the derivative of 3, it goes to 0. When you take the derivative of x to the negative 1/3, it's negative 1/3 x, take away 1, so that's minusing a 3 over 3, so that's minusing 4 over 3. The derivative of 5 is 0. Remember, dy dx is the same thing as a derivative, y prime. It's just another notation for it. So dy dx is u prime v plus uv prime. Here we go. U prime is 2/3 x to the negative 1/3. V, x to the negative 1/3 plus 5, parentheses, extremely important, plus u, parentheses again, extremely important because you have a binomial, v prime, negative 1/3 x to the negative 4/3. That's your answer, u prime v plus uv prime, but we should try to simplify it. So monomial times a binomial, so you can distribute in. So dy dx is equal to 2/3. When you multiply like bases, you add exponents. So negative 1/3 plus negative 1/3, it's negative 2/3, plus 5 times 2 over 3, so that becomes 10 over 3, x to the negative 1/3. And then you have your monomial to the right here, so the monomial times the binomial, so it's going to be plus a negative 1/3 x to the 2/3 plus a negative 4/3, so that gives us a negative 2/3. And then negative 1/3 times 3 is a negative x to the negative 4/3. We look to see what combining we can do. Notice here you have like terms here, x to the negative 2/3, x to the negative 2/3. So it's 2/3 plus a negative 1/3, or 2/3 minus a third, gives you 1/3 x to the negative 2/3. And then you have here x to the negative 1/3, x to the negative, and that's the negative 4/3, so they're not the same. So you add 10 over 3 x to the negative 1/3 minus x to the negative 4/3. What is probably the most challenging part to this question is the fractions. So if I moved a little quick with this question and you need to stop it, you need to pause, and you want to go to your calculator and plug them in your calculator, you can. If you need to put in your calculator negative 1/3 plus negative 1/3, you'll get a decimal, press math 1. Remember, the function on your calculator makes it into a fraction for you. So until you get more fluid, use your calculator to be able to calculate your fractions, because you need to be able to answer this at a nice speed. And so this is your final answer right here. Let's look at example 3. Example 3 has a term times a term times a term. And if we x to find y prime from this, you do have a product here, but you don't have a product of two terms. And the only way you can use the product rule is if you have a product of two factors. So you need to think of one of them as a factor and the other, so 2 act as 1 factor. Your textbook does it a little differently. So the way I would answer this is, we'll expand that out so it's not a product. So I would instead, it's still y. I would think of this as x squared plus 5x plus 6 times x plus 4. Again, I FOILed out the first 2 terms, and that gave me x squared plus 5x plus 6, and then the x plus 4 stays. So my u is x squared plus 5x plus 6. My v is x plus 4. My u prime is 2x plus 5. My v prime is 1. So y prime is u prime v plus u v prime. So u prime v, everything goes in parentheses. When in doubt, put those parentheses there so you don't get into a little bit of trouble without distributing. U prime v plus u v prime. Okay, technically that's your answer, but if we were to write it in simplified form, distribute or FOIL the first 2 parentheses, you get 2x squared plus 8x plus 5x plus 20, plus, and the 1 distributes to the 3 terms, and it leaves it as it is. You look for like terms. 2x squared and x squared gives you 3x squared. 8x and 5x gives you 13x. 13x and 5x gives you 18x. Plus 20 and 6, so plus 26. And that's your derivative. Let's try a question now that applies this to the idea of slope. Find the slope of the graph f of x is equal to 7x to the third minus 5x plus 2 times 2x to the fourth plus 7 when x is 1. So remember that the derivative gives you the slope of a curve at a point. So what we want to do is we want to find f prime. Because f prime, the derivative of this, will give us that slope of a curve at a point when we substitute the x in. So u is 7x to the third minus 5x plus 2. Remember, factor times factor. V is 2x to the fourth plus 7. U prime is 21x squared minus 5. V prime is going to be 8x to the third. So f prime of x is equal to u prime v plus u v prime. Now this is your slope equation for the tangent line. To actually find the slope of the tangent line, you substitute in the x value. So you don't really need to expand this anymore because you can get into a little bit more errors. So we'll just substitute the 1 in. So everywhere there's an x, I put a 1. Okay, so then I get 21 minus 5 times 2 plus 7 plus 7 minus 5 plus 2 times 8. Remember, keep thinking order of operations. You're going to do inside the parentheses first, then you do the multiplication. 21 minus 5 is 16. 16 times 9. Plus 7 minus 5 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. And 4 times 8. 16 times 9, that's 90. 90 and 54. 144. Plus 4 times 8 is 32. So the slope of that line is 176. So the slope of the curve at the point x is equal to 1 will be 176.